I am really sorry that I could not make any videos on the weekend for you. I was very busy on my German channel. Little mini series with 3 videos in a row. But now I'm back and look at this. We had some rain this morning. I think it's just a drizzle or a little shower or something, but now we've got the yeah, it's looking good. I need it. Battery is down to 19% this morning. It turned off the pool pump. It turned off the Bitcoin miner. Everything non-essential turns off at 20%. Just leaves the important stuff running. And also the Home Assistant crisis has been solved. I logged a fault ticket in regards to the Victron integration. And the developer SFstar was very busy over the weekend to fix this. And we have now another release. And all the data is back and it's all working again. It was kind of related to an undocumented code in the Modbus protocol from Victron. And funnily, this was related to a low battery warning of the Ruby tag. Remember these little guys? This one measures my battery temperature on the top shelf here. And this one has a low battery warning or message, you want to call it. Still works fine, shows the temperatures. It's about 2 years old now since we installed this. And there's a little button battery inside. And this one sends actually a message to Victron and says, hey, my battery is getting low, which causes a status code 5. And this is not defined in the Victron protocol at all. So, and SFstar's Victron integration could not handle this unknown code. And hence the whole communication with all Victron gear stopped. But this is all fixed now. There's a new version coming out very soon for this integration. If you're interested, I'll link this down below. Installation is super easy. And thanks again to SFstar for spending the weekend with me. And his first suggestion was, can you turn off the Ruby tags? And as soon as I did this, it started working again. All the data came in again. So his first guess was spot on. So thankfully it is all good now again. Oh, it didn't say anything. Guys, welcome back to the off-grid garage here in sunny, hot Australia. We have the most beautiful weather. Just under 30 degrees, no humidity anymore. It's the perfect fall weather. You may remember the sodium battery Herr Muller sent over. Oh, this one is so light. And unfortunately, there's no other documentation in this box here than a warranty card and a certificate sticker. But there's no specification sheet or anything for this battery. So we only have what's printed here on the box. We had a look at this before here. 12-volt battery, 50 ampere hours, 600 watt hours, 9.2 to 15.6 volts. 10 amp is the standard charging, so this is 0.2 C. Maximum is 50 amps for charging and discharging. Sodium ion. This is well, this is pretty much all the information we have. And interestingly, this is the same case as a lithium 100 ampere hour battery. Of course, this one is, I wouldn't say it's double the weight. And apparently we can open this battery up. And Herr Müller said, don't take a saw and cut it open. There are some plugs at the top where some screws are hiding underneath. I'm just having a look here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because today we want to have a look in a commercially available sodium battery. What kind of cells have they used? How are the cells arranged? Are they compressed inside this box? What BMS have they used? What are the settings in the BMS? Yeah, all these questions are interesting. Okay, I have removed all the covers now and took off the screws. We should be able to lift the... Oh, wow. What? Hang on. First thing I'm seeing is the BMS, and then I see cylindrical cells. I was really expecting prismatic cells in here. 1, 2, 3, 4... and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 4S5P battery. Interesting. There's just a rubber plug here to go. Come on, let go. As good as new. What do we have? Ooh, we have a JBD BMS. It's a JBD DP04 60 amp. But there's no Bluetooth connected. Maybe it has internal Bluetooth though. Where's my Okay, let's connect to the battery with the Overkill app. So we've got a 4S battery, of course, 3.4 volts. Everything looks pretty balanced here. It's a JBD BMS. Never heard of this version before. Let's go to the settings. Let's have a quick squeeze around the settings here. Battery capacity 50 ampere hours. Cycle capacity 40 ampere hours. Cell full voltage 3.95. Minimum voltage 2 volts. Self-discharge 0.1%. Then we've got all the voltages. Balance start voltage 3.3 volts. Interesting. Delta to balance 50 millivolt. And, oh, look at this. They have turned off the charge balancer actually. So they are only balancing this battery here if we are not charging. Interesting. Then we've got all the temperatures here. Over temperature 65 degrees. Ho, 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 ho. Charge under temperature -15. Discharge over temperature 75. Can these cells withstand 75 degrees? Discharge under temperature -35. I can actually turn this to Fahrenheit quickly for my friends in the US, which are still using old school imperial numbers. Yep, that's enough. Battery over voltage 16.2 volts. Under voltage 7.8. 4.05 is the cell over voltage protection. That is interesting as well. There might be different cells in this battery here actually, which can be charged higher than 3.95 volts. Under voltage is 1.95, and they've got a charge, what? They've got a charge overcurrent of 105 amps. The battery says on the box here 50 amps is maximum. Why would you double that? And then we've got a level 2 protection of 160 amps, 4.1 volts over voltage and 1.9 under voltage. And also a 1120 amp short current trigger. Very cool. So first thing I'm noticing is that they have a bus bar here across these two terminals for the BMS, but they haven't got a bus bar over here on this side. So what's the deal with that? Strange. What are they using here? 8-gauge wire. Hey guys, I'm not sure if I can get this out here. And obviously the BMS is glued to this epoxy board. Okay, give me a minute here. Okay, that wasn't really hard to get out. Wow, look at this. So the only glue holding this whole battery in place was a strip of silicone over here, and maybe it's glue, and a strip of glue over there. And this was even glued to this soft foam block here on the side. Man, look at this. What do we have? 30 watt hours, 3 volts. There are 3240 cells. There's a serial number on it, a barcode. But no, cannot see any, I don't know who is the manufacturer of that. We've got the usual tin strips here to connect them in series and parallel. Balance cable connectors. Yeah, just make sure there's no screw underneath. Well, that's pretty much all. Yes, there are 3240 cells. Never seen them before. And always 5 of them are in parallel. And then 4 of these parallel stacks are in series. Personally, I'm not a big fan of parallel batteries because you don't have control about single cells. If one of them is faulty, the other 4 will dump all the energy into this one faulty cell. So you probably need to fuse every single cell individually up here to prevent something from happening. But in such a battery, what else can you do? And of course, we already have the CKE tester ready here, and we want to charge this battery up and do a full capacity test, take the charge and discharge curves. And in the second video, I want to connect an inverter to this battery here and see how the inverter performs and in what range we can actually use an inverter with a sodium battery. Okay, what did it say here? Charging operation voltage, 15.6 volts. Okay, we can charge it to 15.6 volts. Settings, charging, constant voltage. Set. Of course, we want to charge this with 5 amps, maximum the tester can do, and we charge to 15.6 volts. 15.6 volts. Cutoff, absorption cutoff, 0.05 C. Okay. 1 C is 50 amps. 0.0, 2.5 amps. Set. And on. Start charging. Well, it claims it's at 68%, so that might take what it says here on the screen. Nah, that's too long. I probably get the other power supply out here and charge it a bit faster. I just want to get to the upper limit then and then do a full discharge test. It takes forever. How do I know? 26 amps. Yeah, that's a lot better. This will be done in 35 minutes or so. So here on the EV Lithium website, I have found some specifications for the 32140 sodium batteries. This might not be the same brand as ours, but the specifications I found online are pretty much the same for these 32140. Here it says we can charge these batteries to 4 volts with a discharge current of 0.05 amps. C. 0.05 C. Discharge is down to 1.5 as we know it. So in here the charge temperature and charge currents are very interesting. -20 to -10 is only 0.05 C. Yeah. So even we know sodium can be charged under the freezing point, the charge current is limited. -10 degrees Celsius to the freezing point to 0.2 C only. And then up to 45 degrees we can charge this battery with up to 0.5 C. The maximum instantaneous discharge current is 15 C for this cell. But this is only for 3 seconds as we can see and only up to 45 degrees. And with our last sodium test we have seen when we discharged the salty batteries here with 3C, we have reached these 45 degrees. So again, the thermal advantage of sodium batteries in comparison to lithium iron phosphate batteries is limited. Okay, so we have now fully charged this battery to 16 volts, and I want to show you here the BMS as well. All the cells are showing 3.99 volts, more or less, and we have a deviation of only 5 millivolt now. The balancer has not started at all, because it will only start if the deviation goes over 15 millivolt. So the battery is actually very, very balanced, which is always great to see. And we are now going to start our discharge test, which we will do with 5 amps only. And this is because the EBC A20 tester, I want to discharge to 0 volts, yes. Because the EBC A20 tester can only do 86, 89 watts of discharge power. And even if I set it to 20 amps, which you can do, it will only discharge with 5.7 amps anyway, because this is the maximum power it can actually discharge. So we do a 5 amp 0.1 C discharge test now, which will take 10 hours with this battery. This will be 10 o'clock. This will be 10 p.m. Okay, without further ado, let's get this underway. Start. 5 amps all the way down to 0 volts. 0.0. Let's see what happens in 10 hours. 10 hours! And then we need to fully charge it again with 5 amps as well. It's potentially another 10 hours, right? So this video will not come tomorrow. It will come the day after because this testing takes so long. I apologize. All right, you have a wonderful day wherever you are and see you again in 10 hours. It'll be dark. So, and of course we are going to discharge the battery to 0 volts, or as close as possible at least. I had to bypass the BMS as well. So this monitors still the cells and everything, but it doesn't measure for any current, overcurrent or something anymore. Good evening, my friends, and welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful day in the last 2 seconds. All right, it is 9:30 after the 9 p.m. We are still discharging, of course. We are just at 9.1 volts. And this is actually just under the recommended operation voltage of 9.2. Well, as you can see, we have discharged 47.6 ampere hours. So we are still a bit short of these 50 ampere hours. But as we can see from the discharge curve here, we have just left this plateau at 2.7 volts. And let's have a look at the BMS as well, this one here. What is our cell voltage? How is the deviation? Deviation 30 millivolts, we are just at 2.3 volts. And this is when the manufacturer of this battery here wants us to stop discharging. Okay, I guess we keep just discharging here. So if we keep discharging to 6 volts, we would reach the 1.5 volts per cell. But I'm pretty confident tonight we just keep discharging further. Okay, we are now entering the steeper discharge curve here, so the voltage will drop faster. And I guess I'll I'll be back in a couple of minutes when we reach the 6 volts or so. Alright, I'm back. It is shortly after 11 p.m. and we are just under 6 volts now. So let's have a look. Connecting. It may not even connect to the BMS anymore. Yeah. So the voltage is so low that the BMS has stopped working, it seems like. Going down to 4 volts makes no sense at all. We all know that, but I want to see how the curve looks like. So we keep discharging and now it goes almost vertical down. Look at this. Okay, we had 3 volts, 2.9. Look at this curve. That is total battery torture. Still delivering 5 amps, 2.7. Interestingly, that the cells are actually a bit warm. So something is happening inside at this low voltage, because 5 amps is not enough to heat up these batteries, not a 5P. That is not enough current for that. But clearly something is happening inside these batteries now. Okay, we have reached the 2 volts now. Yeah, I'm just measuring one of the cells here and it says 0.41 volts. And this one is at 0.39. So it seems like they are still fairly balanced. We are under 1.5, we are under 1.4 volts now. Still discharging with 5 amps. That is incredible. But no BMS anymore. Nothing. Alright, and here we have a quick look with the infrared camera at this battery pack. And we can see how heated up the cells actually are at 31 degrees. Just here my tape measure. And the surrounding is at 26 degrees. But here the battery pack clearly at 33 degrees. Look at this. How warm these cells are. And as I said, I don't believe this is from the 5 amps we are pulling from this battery pack at 0.5 volts. Ridiculous. And now we can see again that the current is tapering off. Yeah, and I think we will see the same plateau now again at 0.3 volts or so. And now because the current is actually going down, we see the voltage is kind of stabilizing there because we are pulling less energy from the cell. So higher current means lower voltage, but lower current means higher voltage. So there is a kind of balancing happening right now between the current and the voltage. And this is why we see this second plateau now at very low voltage. It could be actually the cell, the battery itself. Because why would the tester do that? The tester either works or doesn't work. But obviously the tester is not able to pull more than 2.4 amps anymore from this battery at this voltage. But why is the voltage not going further down and the amps going up? Because it's set to 5 amps. So that's why I'm not quite sure if this is actually a limitation of the tester or if it's the battery. But leave your comments down below. I'm really interested to read it. So at the moment I can't really explain what is happening right now. Okay guys, considering it's already 11:30 in the night, we should stop this test now and start charging the battery again. So the charging test will be ready by tomorrow morning. Because the voltage stays fairly constant now here and the current is going down very, very slowly. And I doubt there's anything else happening if we continue discharging like this. So let's stop this test, save the data. And look, the voltage has now bounced back to 3.3 volts already. Continuing rising. And we just start the charge test from here. There we go. And now we charge it all the way back up to 16 volts. Which should take another 11 hours or so. Okay, I guess we will see us again tomorrow at noontime. Man, these tests are taking so long. Insane. Oh yes, the BMS is back. Hang on. Waiting for BMS. Getting BMS data, waiting for BMS. It says cell under voltage, pack under voltage, has all the alarms. Here we go. 30 millivolt deviation we have. Balancer is not on, because we are not at 3.3 volts per cell. Yeah, see, the BMS has trouble connecting. And now it's gone again. Voltage is still too low. Alright my friends, as always, as in the good old days, you have a good night's sleep and we see us again tomorrow at about noontime when the battery is fully charged. Good morning my friends, it is 11:30 in the morning the next day after the day before yesterday. If this all makes sense. I completely lost overview what time it is, what day it is. So we have now fully charged our sodium battery again, our 12-volt sodium battery up to 16 volts. And well, this is what I have seen in the curve. I don't know what these red lines are. Something went wrong during the test. And if we check here for the current, you can see the current goes down to 0.5 amps at some stage. And here as well, 0.7 amps, and then goes back to 5 amps, and then does the same again. But we can also see that the voltage has not risen during this time. See, there's a flat part here. This is where the current was really down. So I don't know if this was related to the BMS starting up again or something. I really have no idea what happens. Because after all this mess here, it went back to 5 amps and charged continuously until we hit the 16 volts, and then the current tapered off. I will repeat this test here to get a clean current and voltage curve, because I wanted to show you something else. So with the discharge curve we have done yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? Well, this was obviously the discharge curve, voltage going down, current stays constant until we hit the 0.5 volts. I have created this table here and have now linked the battery voltage to the state of charge. Yeah, I have used the maximum capacity of 56.78 ampere hours we could discharge this battery with. This was our maximum capacity, and we reached this at 16 volts obviously. At 15.9 volts we are at 99.9% and so on. At 15 volts we are at 91 volts. So you have now a correlation between the pack voltage of a 12-volt battery and the state of charge with this table here. And if you go a bit further up here, you can see at 12 volts, we have exactly reached 50% of the available capacity of this 12-volt battery. So it gives you a good overview now what voltage is what state of charge. And I wanted to do the same with the charge data as well. So we can charge the battery to, say, 80% and then stop. What voltage is that for a 12-volt battery? But with this messy graph here, I think the data is not accurate. So I'll repeat this test, and as soon as I've got the graph and the data, I'll make another table like this. And then we have linked the voltage to the state of charge for either charging or discharging. As always, all the information for the charge and discharge curve, all the data is down below under the video and on my website as well. I actually wonder why they have put this pack upright into this box here, because it would perfectly fit sideways as well. And then we could fit far more battery cells into the same case. Let me give this a try. Okay, it doesn't fit with the BMS now, but the battery cells would actually... maybe it's too close. Maybe just not. I was just trying to make better usage of the space here. But no, they are not fitting in sideways. The case is just a bit too small for these 140 mil long cells. But of course they could have used 2 more rows in this battery box and could have made it at least a 70 ampere hour battery, not a 50. Let me actually get, just hang on. So this here, this is a lithium iron phosphate battery, 100 ampere hours. And just in comparison to a 50 ampere hour sodium battery, look at this. Quite interesting, eh? So the lithium iron phosphate is a bit longer, but only by that much. That could be very important. They are a tiny bit wider. This is just a board. The cell actually stops here. Yeah, this is like a thumb wider, and they almost have the same height. But we have double the capacity in this battery than over here. So I think if we are adding 2 more rows here and make it a 7P4S battery with 70 ampere hours, we roughly have the same dimensions then as a 100 ampere hour battery of lithium iron phosphate. So this gives you a good understanding of the energy density between sodium batteries and lithium iron phosphate. Well, if you are tight in space, sodium may not be the right choice. But if you have all the space in the world, why not? Okay, my friends, I think so far this little teardown video from today with the salty battery from Muller Energy. I don't know, I think it's a pretty good battery. It's not the best build, of course. I don't like this this glue here just on the corner of these rubber blocks. And this is all what's holding in the battery. So the well, the workmanship and the quality of this battery is not the best. But what I really like is these cells, these 3240. This is a good size. They have 10 ampere hours at 3 volts and 4 of them make a good 12-volt battery. And if you build a battery for your garden shed, for example, yeah, and you use this only for lighting, the voltage drop during using this battery doesn't really matter. Of course, your lights will dim down after a while, but who cares? As long as they've got some light, it doesn't really matter. And then the next day you charge it back up from your solar. I found these cells here online on Alibaba. I link them down below as well if you're interested. And I think I will just have lunch now. And then after lunch, we do the second video with a big sodium battery test. And this will be pretty much the last video we do testing with the sodium batteries for a while at least. And I think we have tested everything now. Well, until this afternoon then, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support, of course, here on the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers on the channel. So good to have you here in my garage in sunny, hot Australia. Yeah, thanks for watching again. See you then. Bye-bye.